Lesson 68 Part 3. I'm continuing the theme of learning from Lee Trevino. For about 10 years in a row I went to watch the Open, and it's always fascinating to see the world's great players in close quarters. And I've learnt so much about playing golf and managing myself on the golf course by watching Trevino. Even though I was 100 yards away, I could still learn from his body language and his approach and by his choice of club. Now, Trevino was the most accurate player at his prime in the world. They measured him ballistically and he was about as accurate as a human being could possibly be. And one of the reasons for that is that Trevino played from a shut face at the top to a fade open face at impact. So he had a very distinctive swing. So if I show you Trevino's swing, and mimic it a little bit, he had a very open stance. He picked the club head up and he was shut at the top. Okay. But then he would go through and he would work the ball with fade. Now, David Leadbetter was very clever, because when he built his ideas around the golf swing, he studied the greats, and one of which was Trevino. And prior to Leadbetter, all golf was taught about the club face closing and controlled draw spin. The idea of holding off the hit dramatically was something that wasn't seen that often, but Trevino majored in it. So just watch again. This would be a standard set. Trevino goes open. Okay, he goes back, he's shut at the top, and then he compensates the shut face and he plays a cut. So there's Lee Trevino. And you can see the little movement. So in the Leadbetter era, when Faldo was at his best, it was a miniature version of the Trevino lunge. So Tom Watson would swing back, deliver the blow and finish here. Faldo in his prime didn't. He went back, came into impact and finished slightly across, and his body came up. So if your body is standing up, you don't want draw spin, you want fade spin. So this is the milder version of the Trevino swing. Step slightly and you can see that it became a stronger shot because there wasn't as much fade spin in it. So this is, I'm in the middle of the 16th fairway and I've got a 5-iron in my hand. It's 160 to the flag. Now there's a tarmac road on the right, the green runs diagonally from right to left going backwards, but the pin is cut at the front. So I would see that as a fade shot. I'd take my normal stance, I'd go around the circular fraction and I would cut the ball in. So I've overcooked it slightly, but it hasn't done me any great harm. Let's imagine that the flag was at the back. Then all I do is work the ball the other way. So I'm going to go to the back left of this green. So you can see that the ball started, and sure enough, and you can also note that that shot probably went about 165, 170 through the air. With the fade, I'd lost 10 or 15 yards. So if you're in between clubs, if the flag's the front, you'd favour a fade. If the flag was the back and left, you'd favour the draw. So although Trevino was known as a fader, he was equally comfortable with his technique of hitting a draw. So amazingly, although he set up open with a shut face to the top, he could still hit a draw. And that would look like Trevino's swing. And you see, I've improvised a beauty. So the history books say that Trevino was a fader, but I've watched him for hours and I know that he could move the ball from right to left every bit as well as he could from left to right.